Ghost on the Ox.
You can't see him, but he's here.
He's here.
He's here somewhere.
He's adding the color, the flavor. I love it.
He's the sprinkles on the...
Oh, my. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Kevin McLoughlin, and this is
Paul Robertson, and this is the
Riffs and
Rhythms Podcast.
Wow, that was smooth. Well,
I know.
It would have been smooth until I interrupted you. Oh, well.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Well, it actually wasn't too bad.
We'll just leave it alone in post.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
You were almost syncopated.
Yes.
Yeah, you figure 70 episodes, later, you would figure we'll eventually get it.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, thanks for joining. This is part of the B3 Podcast Network here. So you're listening to this show or watching it on YouTube, and audio listeners on Apple Podcast, Spotify, etc. Check out our other shows there.
Wait, if you're going to name a few, you got to name them all.
I will name a few and then name them all.
You got to name them all if you're
That's
going to
right.
name any of them.
So you've got the Riffs and Rhythm Show, ours. You've also got Jams and Cocktails with our good friend Brad Brock there on Wednesday nights live, and also on the audio on Thursdays. And then you have Drums and Rums whenever I decide to get around to doing more Drums and Rum stuff. But definitely check out B3 Podcast Network on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your audio stuff. Okay, all the important stuff.
Here's a bit of presidential trivia. Not long ago we got a new one.
Yes, that's right.
And they weren't covering this in the live broadcast, but Trump's very first executive order was pepperoni and extra cheese.
There you go. Hey,
I tried.
good timing in this. That's
I tried.
Even if you're late to the party, it's good.
This long silence sounds just like our list of sponsors.
yeah. And here
Sounds
we
like
would
my last audience we played in front
and
of.
we would like to thank you, our advertising sponsors.
Cricket.
Oh, I did add the pin drop in there for the last week's episode. Remember?
No, we do have some sponsors. We've got the House of Wine and Beer and Spirits.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got Reach Solar, getting rid of the reasons to say no to solar power.
Right.
We've got,
Right.
who else? We've got Knox and Dunn.
That's right. They're one of our good friends and sponsors of our festival and things. And
Absolutely.
we're talking to St. Pete also there in Tampa.
St. Petersburg Distillery.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Knox and Dunn. I mean, that should be a band.
That's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
He wants actually. And I actually could talk to you about this because we were chatting over. Or
That
hey,
should
Devin,
be the name of a breeding bull, honestly.
Well, it should
Knox
be, yeah.
and Dunn.
Knox and Dunn.
Yeah. So Chris. Well, let's introduce
we
our.
should
Yeah, we should
probably go ahead and
yeah.
mention that we do have a guest
Yes,
here,
that's right,
as
yeah.
usual. Not only is he a super cool guy, but he is the executive director of the Martin County Fair, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. Hi, guys.
Welcome, Micah Robbins. How
Thank
are you,
I'm
man?
great, man. Thanks for having me. This is awesome. It's a great
Yeah.
podcast. Good setup, good talk. We'll talk a little fair, tunes, all the fun stuff.
Well, thanks for coming out at your busiest time of the year.
We're gearing up.
So you've got something going on. What's happening here?
Well, let's see here. The fair kicks off February 14th, Friday night. Speaking of music, generally not our type, but the kids love it. We have a Taylor Swift act coming in.
Oh,
very
And,
cool.
which is kind of fun. And then we do have Saturday night. Speaking of, I'll do the music because that's, we'll start with that.
Yeah.
But Phil Vassar, the country legend Phil Vassar, is playing Saturday night.
I saw a show poster for that
Yeah.
at a restaurant in Stewart tonight.
That's a good thing. That means I have people out there doing their job.
Yeah.
Which is actually, tickets are going really well for that. He's got a great following, puts on a great show. I mean, these guys are tight, they'll come in. Then following Phil, we have our Latin bands that come out, and which is a blast. I mean, we're talking like 15 pieces, horns, everything.
Nice.
It just sounds great, and everybody has a great time. And but this week, or this year's fair, we're bringing back the big stage all week. So usually it sits dark. I'm like, oh man, that's a big stage to leave dark all week. That's a lot. It's too much fun. So Monday night we got our it's Kids Day because it's President's Day. School's out, so we're gonna have a ton of kids. So we're doing kids acts. So we're gonna have a bunch of our dance studios up doing some stuff, and our martial arts kids up there. Purple Dragon Dojo's coming out and doing demonstrations. We got the Martin County High School Jazz Band coming up. So that'll be fun for the kids. Tuesday night, we're doing a culture fest. We're going to have drumming and dancing and all kinds of stuff with our friend Anthony Backus, who puts on these great festivals. Wednesday is a faith-based. We got some faith-based bands coming up, celebrating that kind of music. Thursday night, because that's the new Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I heard.
They call it. I have heard it called Little Friday.
Little Friday.
Yeah.
Little Friday? Really?
Yeah.
I'm old and I have little kids, so I haven't seen the entertaining side of a Thursday
Or Friday Eve
ever, unless I'm playing it. But no, we're having a local. So our good friend right here is going to be headlining, and
This guy? You mean this guy?
right here? Yeah, the man. Kevin's going to be bringing the band, and which is awesome. We want to celebrate local music, local performers. My band is going to actually kick off. We're one of the opening acts. Fox and Foes is in the 2 slot. And then our good friend Adam Fishman duo, which he plays in our band. He's just a ridiculous player. He plays in all. He's a music teacher and rock god and guitar, all that good stuff. So doing a little in between. I'm going to try to get Brittany Peralta to jump up there and do a little stuff in between on the big mic. We change stuff out. So we're going to have about a 3.5 hour show, almost 4 hours of great local music. So,
and that
really
evening is called
Big Fest.
Big Fest.
I should have opened with that. So the goal is it's like a fair within a fair, right? It's going to be a music fest within the fair, and something we hope to grow on and continue to grow. Bringing more people out for local music.
Yeah,
and can't say that there's anything bad about that.
No, I am a big promoter of local music, especially since I'm also what they call a content provider.
There we go.
So that's very cool. So tell us about your band. Well, before I want to hear about your band, but then Friday at the fair is what?
So Friday at the fair, opening night. So let's talk fair stuff. I'll get to the non-music stuff, but look, this year's fair, we're packed. I mean, we have packed every building. We have great artisans in there, arts and crafts type of stuff. We, of course, have our Florida Arts, part of the Florida Fair sort of tradition, if you will, is you have local people can submit artwork and things like that. So that'll be on display. Have a full antique show going on in one of our buildings, a full community building, which is all our community partners. Our schools are doing booths for all their schools, School Pride. We got the STEM kids doing robotics and all that good stuff. Whole building full of antique cars, including the historic fire truck from Stewart, kind of make a public appearance. And, of course, it is a Florida fair, so there's the agricultural side, the livestock show. We have all the animals out there, small animals, all the livestock. They do all their showing, then they do the auction. Real exciting stuff, real part of our culture and our heritage here. So that's always great. And then we have a unique – we have an agricultural education building. We got all our sponsors. We're going to have, monster trucks and tractors and all kinds of good things. And but in our infield, we have a mini – kids carnival. So we have the Midway, we have Dreamland coming in. We have about 30% more rides we've ever had. The biggest wheel in South Florida. It's 110 feet. We've never had that before. You get up to that height, you can see all 3 bridges. You can see the wheel from there, and you can see the ocean. I mean, Florida's flat. You get up a little high, you can see a lot.
110 feet is huge.
That's big. So you're going to see that everywhere on the fairgrounds. And some new rides coming in just for this fair. They're literally coming off the boats right now. And we also have a kids really bringing families back out. Families are always, families and fairs go hand in hand. And at least you take your small children by the hand. We don't want to lose them, right? Don't want to lose them to the fair. But we have a kids carnival that's going to be inside our infield, so that's like a little more protected and no height restriction. So any little Bob wants to ride, we're going to have 4 or 5 rides sitting right there for them, so they can. So usually they come and the little kids get upset because their big brother or sister can ride and they can't. It's like, no, man, let's get you on some stuff. So really working hard. We have great partners. We've got a great board doing a fantastic job. And we kick it off actually February 1st. We have our Miss Martin County Fair pageant happening over at moved it this year. It's at the Marriott in Hutchinson Island. So we have 10 young women, high school kids from all the high schools are represented. They've worked really hard. They do a great show. These are all like their goals. You hear what they want to be, and they're like, "Wow, these kids are solid." A lot of them want to go into agricultural, veterinary, all kinds of great things like that. They're all smart. They're just fantastic kids. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we're doing Little Miss Martin again this year. So age 2 to 7, they're going to get out and just be fun and cute.
That hotel has got awesome conference rooms.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's turning out great. They've been a great partner. So shout out to Marriott and Hutchinson Island. But no, we have some, and again, wonderful sponsors coming out this year. I try to make sure I throw a plug here and there for them. But all the food you want to eat, everything that's not good for you, but you're going to eat. You always can't wait. We got it. You got a style. We have it from Latin to Greek to traditional American, all kinds of barbecue, great wings, fried, you name it, it's fried.
Sign me up.
We'll fry it.
Fried Snickers.
Fried Snickers.
Fried Pepsi.
My favorite that I ever had. They do it. Fried Pepsi,
yeah.
fried Dr. Pepper was one of my personal favorites.
Is that still in the can or
How?
No, I think they take a what do they take? Like a Twinkie and they marinate it in Pepsi
and then they
fry it
fry it
later.
But my favorite, and this is no joke, I had deep fried butter.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna make that joke. Oh my gosh, you actually had it.
It's
a real
sponsored by
thing.
the American Pacemakers Manufacturing Association.
Free paddling. But
so you know who
it's for real. That's a real thing.
Fried butter.
So you know who's going now, right? Devin, right? The ghost.
I don't know about fried butter, but I definitely want to try some fried Pepsi.
You want to dip your toe. You go
Fried toes.
You go fried Pop-Tart.
I feel like I'm going to lose a toe if I'm eating all this fried stuff.
Look, man, you throw your toe in there, someone's going to eat it. I'm telling you what,
That's the fair.
Fair's
Fried Oreos. I'll try some fried Pepsi. Gotta have that.
It's right in the center of the food court. They have the insulin truck.
Insulin. You get insulin, free CPR.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. We got, look, our friends at Martin County Fire Rescue are there. They got the paddles.
Sweet.
We got our own doctor on staff. We'll get you going again. Don't worry about it.
And don't forget to visit the Ozempic tent.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
just
but
shooting out it's like we have like the Ozempic cannon now. We just blast them as they come by.
Yeah,
it's really kind of fun.
That's part of the allure of the fair is the awesome fried food.
It is. We have, and look, our food vendors been doing this a long time. Some new ones. One thing we did add this year, make sure, this sounds crazy, but a really good popcorn guy. A good, like, the sweet, salty, what's that called? The carnival corn.
Kettle corn.
And because when you walk into a fair, man, what do you want to smell? You want to smell popcorn.
Popcorn
It
makes
gets you fired up.
So addictive.
Yeah. And we've changed up the whole way you come into the fair. So you're not seeing stuff. You're seeing like ice cream and popcorn and cool things. And that's like big wheel and stuff like that. Get you in the spirit of the thing,
Feel excited? Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. Again,
Here you go.
14th through the 22nd. Cheap to get in. I mean, it's $10.
Oh, wow.
What else can you do? Like get music and cool stuff for $10.
Is there entertainment on the second weekend? Because we got as far as Thursday.
Oh, yeah. No. So the second weekend, Friday night, is Pirates. It's the Kenny Chesney tribute band, which is funny because I don't know how many
Kenny's
years
not
ago.
dead, is he?
No.
Okay,
No. But Kenny actually played the Martin County Fair early in his career on his way up.
I know. I was there.
Yeah. So it's like, we can't afford Kenny now, but now we get he's big enough. He has his own tribute band. Gotta like
That's
it.
how you know you've arrived.
Pirate flag, and then Saturday night is the Latin nights are so popular and so packed that we bookend both Saturday nights, and it's crazy. It's so much fun. So yeah, we're gonna have that stage filled the whole week.
So is it a problem if you forget your shoes at the Kenny Chesney tribute act?
I probably yeah.
I hope not. Because he's got that song, No Shoes.
He's got that song, No Shoes.
It's encouraged.
It's
actually encouraged.
Actually, I'm going to find some new footwear. I'm like, it's like a little trade-in. All right, those look a little better than mine. That's a nice set of
There you
boots.
go.
Yeah.
Some Kenny slippers.
Some Kenny slippers. Kenny slippers is flip-flop town. But yeah, so we have we have our beer garden that's right next to the stage, which is great. So serving up all the good stuff. We don't do the hard stuff except because we have a certain license for the fair. But we're actually adding another beer tent this year, so we have a big triangle. You walk in, like I said, you want to have some popcorn and all that good stuff. We also added a beer tent to the front. Come in, you could start there and then work your way. It's like a triangle, all the way down to the beer garden, and all the way to the back of the midway where you get the third one. You work your way back.
There you go.
It's great.
I can tell you, as the parent of two, right when you get through the ticket gate, that's when you suddenly feel like you should be drinking a beer.
Exactly. We listen to our constituents, but and all the other good stuff. We have people selling cool stuff. We have a great sponsor, Mad Hatcher out of Stewart, just over the bridge. Amazing, Cody and his crew over there. It's an axe throwing pub. And
An axe throwing pub?
Yeah.
Why do I not know about this?
Well, it's funny. It's like we're like, Cody, how can we help promote you? You're an awesome guy. He's a veteran. He's a good dude.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
So-
Okay, I didn't realize that was what their name is. We almost worked with the Mad Hatcher.
Oh, cool. Well, he's awesome dude. And so he's going to be over, and he's bringing his best calling card ever. He built a mobile throwing unit.
Right. Tracy was reminding me when we did the Riffs and Rhythms Festival, it was the Mad Hatcher that was scheduled to perform, but they weren't able to finish the trailer in time.
Okay. Well, you'll see it coming
So we
out.
got another very high quality axe throwing company
Cool.
who did a great job.
Cool. But we're excited to have him there. And our friends at Everglades, John Deere, they're bringing all kinds of fun stuff and cool stuff. And what do kids like? They want to see trucks and tractors and, things like that. So Sterling GMC and Treasure Coast Toyota and Broward Motorsports and, all the cool things,
Right on.
We got Boat Lift Company. PF Boat Lifts is going to be
Very
there.
cool.
We're going to put some jet skis on boat lifts and play around.
You
We got
got a
remote
demo
control
derby?
cars. We got a huge track that's coming in that you can race around mini NASCARs. Which is way cool. And Roaring Company, they're coming down. And there's really not a dull moment. And one thing I forgot to say, too, a permanent fixture at the Martin County Fairgrounds is the Martin County Model Railroaders. And I was that kid. I had model railroads. I love that stuff. And you go in there, you're like blown away. These guys, they're not the youngest guys. I'll say that. But the passion they have for it and what they build and what they want to teach, like, they love to sit there and talk to folks and talk to kids about it. And kids love seeing all this stuff go around. So
When it's all set up,
yeah, and they're beautiful layouts, and it's huge. I mean, I'm finding rooms I work there. It's like, oh, I didn't even know this existed.
So
This is cool.
whereabouts is the model railroad?
If you're coming in, it's a whole building. It's I don't even know if we name it now. It's like the Model Railroad building. It's literally the full size of one of our exhibition buildings.
So
It's on the north. It's on the end of the barn. So the animals, and then it's the Model Railroad.
Okay.
Yeah, they just had a big show this weekend.
So let's back up a little bit though. Is
Yeah.
besides where that particular building is, where exactly is
Oh.
the Mountain Candy? For those that don't know or
Come
don't
on
live,
down. We're right on Dixie Highway across from the Martin County Stewart Airport. And the Martin County Fairgrounds been there this is our 66th annual.
oh,
Yeah, so it's been going on a long time. And I almost forgot one of my favorite sponsors, our friends at Ace of Carts. They've
I know those guys. That's a great company.
They are great. They sponsor tons of stuff. Great family that runs it. Rocky and his whole family. And I went to my first golf cart auction this weekend they had going on. I'm like, I didn't know this was a thing. He's like, oh, yeah. So we just come on out, do it here. They had a great time. Man, that's a business, golf carts.
The world in Florida does not turn
Does not turn without golf
without a
carts.
decent golf cart.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how badly I want a golf cart.
All right. I'm going to hook you up. You're going
There
to
you
see
go.
our men go to Ace of Carts. They'll take care of you.
Oh my god, I need one.
Yeah. There was cool things. You saw everything like from the new giant, crazy new to the ones like I saw. I'm like, that's my cart, like from the 80s. It's like I know that cart. And
Like the 3-wheel Easy Go.
oh man, like the stripes on it. It's kind of a weird, like I don't know. It looks when you look at it, you're like 80s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cushman is that's all I know.
Oh, Cushman, yeah.
That's-
the kind that didn't have a steering wheel, had a lever. You just move the front wheel back
Oh
and
my
forth.
god.
Harley Davidson used to make them back
they
in the
really?
day. Yeah,
Wow.
they had the
Oh,
swing
that
arm.
would be sweet as a
Yeah.
V-twin golf cart.
Yeah. No, they definitely didn't have the
powered.
V-twin in it, but
Is that how you plan to
needs to
steer?
happen.
with-
No, what'd be hilarious is if you're going to a biker event and you're like, yeah, I drive a Harley.
That would be hilarious.
I'm going to find one.
But
I'm
no
gonna-
doubt there's a
I'm
Harley
going to talk to Ace of
Davidson.
Carts. They're going to find one for me.
No doubt Harley Davidson has got an officially licensed and badged golf cart somewhere.
Yeah. They should. If
That's
they could
crazy.
sell it, they're like Kiss. If you can brand
just
it,
throw
Oh,
it,
yeah.
slap
you
it
can
on
do
there.
it. Harley's, you name it.
He put anything on Harley and it looks, put Harley on anything and it looks way better.
I have a beautiful Harley Davidson jacket that's as much of a Harley as I can own right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't wear it because I just look like a D-bag.
All right, so
Still a great jacket, but sits in the closet.
you are one of the entertainers at Big Fest.
Well, yeah. So we're the first band, Al Johnson, the Usual Suspects. And Al Johnson, who is the reason why we're called that, Al Johnson, who, first of all, is just an amazing guy. Been a pleasure to work with him and know him these last few years. He's our assistant state's attorney for Palm Beach County. And he's done some amazing work back in the day when you heard all the horror stories about rehabs and all this stuff. It was his team that kind of cleaned it up. The sheriff in town, him and his state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg. And I did a lot of space working in that. And So we hit it off. We were in Tallahassee up at legislative session a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago. And we're just shooting the breeze and talking music. And the same way I got into my last band, he's like, you know a lot about music. He's like, you play? I'm like, well, my last band, we stopped playing, the usual band story. I, got married and kids, and the lead singer went off and he got married, kids, the drummer moved back to Chicago, the usual thing. And he's like, well, let's play. I'm like, all right, it's going to be rough, but I'll jump back in. And sure enough, we got together. It was rough, but it came back together, And so we've been playing out now probably 4 or 5 months. We get some rehearsal in and starting to put it together. And again, Adam Frischman, who comes in, he's phenomenally talented. Dr. Jay Kuchera, who's in String Assassins, well-known band up in the Treasure Coast, great band up there. And Jordan Myers, who's played in, he's the youngest of the group. He's like 30, I think. He's a child.
A kid.
He's a kid. But he used to tour out. He's like a Vans Warped Tour kind of kid. He used to play out in those things. So he's a great, but like us old guy Americana rock and roll music, he's like, this doesn't hurt.
He's the drummer?
Yeah, and I work with him too. He's a longtime friend and colleague. And so everybody just knows each other in the band, which is a lot of fun. And Al played for years after law school, didn't go into law until much later. He was in the North Star Band, which is a pretty well-known touring act through the late 70s into the 80s. Good albums, great original band, toured all over the country. And so he was a top hand out there. And so it's just real fun to play with those kind of guys. And I find it's one of those funny things. Every decade I turn, I find myself in a new band. I in my teens, got my first band, turned 20, had the 5 holes, a bunch of goalies. We played for a long time. Turned 30, had a...
Was it a 5-piece band?
No, it was only 3 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Oh, that's that checks.
3 goalies. And I also... then I turned 30, got in another band, turned 40, got in the John Greco band, which was we did some really great stuff down here, mostly down in the Delray area, but played all over Palm Beach County. Played a few shows up in Pittsburgh, where he was from, and got around. And then we ran our course after about 5 years, and then bang, right back at it. It's funny how 5 decades can run around. You turn 50, and it's like, wow, where'd that come from?
Yeah. Time flies.
Yeah, but playing my really stuff music my whole life. My dad was a professional musician, and he had one of the top bands in New England back in the 60s. He played in the Jesters, and back when you had show bands. And he was a singer, horn player. His band was killer. I mean, those guys were just ridiculous, and they played anything. It was fun. So growing up with that and those record collections and everything else, so it's in the DNA.
Rock on. So how long have you been the executive director for the fair?
I'm fresh off the turnip truck. I was on the board of directors first, and lo and behold, we're looking for a new executive director. And I've been in the nonprofit space my whole career, been executive director of a bunch of things. So we're looking for a director, and knowing what we needed to do. We have a lot of big things like the move and all that stuff. We're going to move the fair out west. And so we're interviewing folks and going through all that. We're like, this is a lot of really great people we're interviewing, but it's like, we need someone who can do this like now. Like, we don't have a lot of runway. And so they said, do you want to do it? And I said, no. Then we talked. I was like, this is a good fit. So I'm excited. It's running a nonprofit organization kind of is formulaic. It's grants, it's this, it's reporting, it's boards, it's all that. But the fun of it, I mean, I've spent a career working in behavioral health and substance and prevention and all these kind of societal things, heavy stuff, and man, it's a blast, and to meet, like, literally, I'm out there, we have events going on, Kevin's band's playing right at a toy run for kids. It's like, come on, how can this not? It's like, this is the best. And so, really turning the fair back into a real county celebration. We're not, South Florida Fair is going on, and it's a big show. It's a great thing, a lot of fun. St. Lucie Fair comes after, another thing. Mark County is like an old-time county fair. It's like, let's celebrate that. Let's not be something we're not. Let's be the best of what we are.
Yeah.
And I got to say, you are far younger than the typical fair director.
I maybe not going to the fair. Maybe, I don't know, but
it's a stressful job. Maybe those guys were in their 40s, but they look like 100-ish to me.
Yeah, old cowboys. But now I'll be 51 in gosh, a few days, 31st.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
well, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. By the time this airs, I'll be 51. Rock and roll.
Oh, my.
Still jamming. Gotta like that. I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with not being dead yet.
not being dead yet.
I was, feel that, between, Martin County sits between St. Lucie and Palm Beach,
Yes.
right? And you're right. I always get the feel that Martin County is still a little bit more grounded, still a little bit older.
Much more ag related. It's
Yeah.
a unique thing in Florida. Martin County is a unique county.
It's a very unique county. For such a small county,
Right.
it's everything because it's as agriculture as you can get, and it's obviously the home of Jupiter Island and Sewell Point. So it's some of the wealthiest zip codes and areas in the state of Florida, if not anywhere. And it's just this unique mix. I love it. When I moved down to Florida about 15 years ago, I was working in Miami and somehow wound up in Stewart. I'm like, this was like the most Maine I could feel in Florida.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How do I get back up here? So lo and behold, career goes the way it goes, and life and everything else. And so I've been up in Stewart and I live in Hope Sound and been there for 7 years. So that was the other thing too. It's like, doing the fair and building that out and building up what that organization can be with, great people. And it's something, that, my kids and everybody else's kids can enjoy, so you get to kind of see what that'll do. So it's a lot of fun, and working the community is great. So I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. And again, we get to make stuff happen. That's it's like be creative, and it's like make some changes, and it's like, what do people want? What do people want to see? Well, they want to come out. They want to see music. They want to get engaged. The more talent we have a lot of great talent around too. And actually, I wanted to hear more from Kevin on this Florida Songwriters Association or Guild, or he's got something there. What do we
Blues Society?
You got the Blues Society?
Oh, yeah, the Treasure Coast Blues Society.
Treasure Society,
That's
Blues
it.
Society,
Yeah.
yep.
The Treasure Coast Blues Society is part of a national nonprofit organization.
All right.
Blues.org.
Easy. I like that.
And the mandate of the organization is to keep the blues alive.
That's about the easiest mission statement ever.
Yeah.
Do,
And
do they need an executive director?
we're having our board nominations.
Oh, see, look, you just
Right
walked
away.
into.
That's how it happens.
So yeah, we're an organization that is dedicated to helping the blues not only survive but thrive.
Awesome.
And early in January, the representative for the Treasure Coast Blues Society that we sent to the International Blues Challenge, the Jake Walden Band, they made it to the semifinals.
Very cool.
And the International Blues Challenge is like the international playoffs for the best unsigned blues bands in the world.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool to be chosen to be part of that and to go and basically it's like the South by Southwest of the blues world. And once a year we descend upon Memphis, Tennessee, and if you go there, you are literally there's like six to eight venues on Beale Street that are all full all day, all night of the best blues bands on the planet that are unsigned.
That's the crazy thing is that you hear these bands that are unsigned, and you're like, you're unsigned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, a record label is no longer a necessity.
No, not at all.
And in some cases, it's a hindrance.
I wanted to talk about that tonight too. The changes, and we've all been at this for a long time. And early on, you're cutting your cassette and your 4-track and making sure you're handing out tapes and this and that and everything else, and just the way it's kind of a catch-22, right? It's like the ramp up to get discovered or whatever is so short now. If you can do it online, you can do it. You build a following, build that, hit the right chord at the right time with it, you go viral. But then some of it, I think, has been diminished with the fact that like you don't build like sending a band out, your first record, you're this, then you go sell it, you go play it, you go build the band, you really start to develop your feel, as opposed to now it feels like we get bands come out, and they're gone. And, especially like rock, we don't have enough rock and roll anymore,
Exactly.
Country acts still kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's been
Country's
commercialized,
big. Yeah,
but
country's big
but you're
still.
still getting out there. They're still touring. They play out, and you can really develop, take that time to develop an artist, develop their skill, develop their songwriting.
Well, back in the day, that was a thing.
Yeah.
But now, It's like a record company is not even going to look at you until you've proven that you can build your own audience, until you've proven you can sell records, until you've proven that you can keep a mainstay popularity over a long period of time. And once you're there, you don't need them anymore.
They don't need them anymore. And no one sells records anymore. So, well, maybe. I guess they're selling more vinyl than CDs now.
Yeah, we talked about
Last
that.
year, vinyl sales surpassed CD sales, which, CD sales are declining rapidly because who even buys CDs?
Yeah.
But the fact that the tactile experience of
a record,
having a record is something that is recognized as a part of the experience and it's coming back as a result. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that because just the other day, and I think we've talked about this just recently. Post Christmas was my son wanted a record player because it's back in, and his friends and bought him some albums. And the other day I walked in his room and I was asking him. He goes, "Yeah." He's reading. I was like, "You're doing exactly what you're going back." I said, "This is what it was before the internet and things. You sit in your room, listen, and this is all you had to read the cover art or read all the stuff that's in there." So so it was like, proud moment.
And teaching like you have a really good stylist and you really do that. Like the sound is the best, and little stereo amplifier for your headphones and do the whole thing. It's like, it's great. I got to go set mine up. Somewhere in an old office of mine, I have twin Newmark TTXs ready to go. They're about 35 pounds a piece. And
nice.
You can do anything you want with those things. Scratch them, flip them, do whatever you want to do. But they just you have to have a real heavy bass for a good record. It's got to be solid. So like the old techniques and all that stuff. And,
no doubt.
I was fortunate. I grew up. My dad, so he was a musician, but then transitioned to his real job, if you will. He had an advertising and a marketing company. Pretty easy transition, right?
Right.
And so being around studios and stuff too, and one of our local DJs lived right in our neighborhood, right across the street, had a great studio, and I remember he handed me a Technics. Well, what's the big one? 1200 is like the DJ
that was
classic.
the mainstay.
So before that, they had a 1500, and they were experimenting. Well, how do you do the, so instead of having the slider, which became like the pitch slider, which was ubiquitous with scratching and all that stuff, it had a pitch wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So same turntable, but it had like this little wheel. And
Wow.
it's like just this cool thing. Sounded great, but that's what DJs used to use those. They played records. They were built into their thing and their console, and that was a lot of fun too. Because cutting stuff too, like just cutting fun, like Halloween, like soundtracks for the house and stuff like that. It was great. You had to cut tape. You had to cut all this stuff, and it was just fun.
It's an art lost, right?
Is it
Well, I don't know if it's
I think
lost.
it's back,
Is it
It's
back?
not lost. No,
not
well,
lost.
you still do tape cutting, but it's virtual.
Okay.
It's
Fair.
more like using Word than audio tape. But
Well, it's like I did the EP. We have the Borderline EP for John Greco band, and I'm like, man, I must be tight. I'm grabbing this on one take. He's like, Then we go back in the studio Pro Tools, like, well, no, we just do this. Beep, 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 and now you're one take. Where I was a little out of time, not anymore.
yeah,
Little flat, nope.
no, there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of the advantages of technology.
Absolutely.
I had a chance to doctor up a couple of flub notes on my live album, and it saved me
It's so
thousands
great.
of dollars.
It's amazing, and that's where it's like, I'm not sitting there being the old guy, halcyonic, bagging. It's like, no, this is so cool that there's a lot of talent that would never have been heard can get out there. But it's like anything. There's good talent, and then there's stuff.
Right. You still got to have it.
But
right.
with that being said, anybody that's willing to put their art out there, write it, perform it, whatever, it's going to get respect. For me, definitely, because how many people out there never take that step of putting themselves out there to play? It's like, don't worry about how you sound. Don't worry about that. If you want to express yourself, do it. And don't cares what people think. Just get out there and make some noise. Have a good time.
I want to chime in on that topic because that was the whole ethos behind why my buddy and I used to host an open mic mainly for music. It was kind of for everything, but it was 99% music, and that was the whole reason we did it was just to give people like a place to people who are talented to showcase, but also people who are brand new to get some kind of experience in front of a crowd of any size. And then also I can attest to Thursday is the new Friday. We used to host these on Thursdays, and it was busy.
It's busy, yeah. People just gave up on Friday.
Thursday night's popping. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah. By the way, this is Devin, our ghost on the podcast.
The G.
Ghost on the Aux.
You can't see him, but he's here.
He's here.
He's here somewhere.
He's adding the color, the flavor. I love it.
He's the sprinkles on the meatloaf.
That was wrong in a lot
First
of
one,
ways.
Do you put sprinkles on meatloaf?
Sure, why not?
Like, I guess bread crumbles, maybe?
I don't
A
know.
little oatmeal,
Oatmeal?
ketchup.
Yeah.
Looking at my mom's meatloaf, because everybody whose meatloaf is the best. It's either your mom,
My
or your
grandma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I bet it's amazing. And my mom's is the best, and your grandma's the best, and that's the best part about meatloaf. Now, have you ever had a meatloaf mountain?
What on earth is that?
Yeah, there's a great restaurant, truck stop food. Right?
Oh.
We'll get to Buc-ee's in a second, but old timey, family owned, not chain stuff. Dysarts in Winterport, Maine, 24 hours a day, huge truck stop, like you'd see in the old movies, right? And they have all kinds of specials. Nothing there is a small portion. Nothing. It's the big rig, it's the big wheeler, it's the 18-wheeler, it's the tire iron, whatever that is. But they have this like Thursday meatloaf mountain, and it's delicious, but it came on a platter, and it was like an Everest. Well, remember that scene? He's got the potatoes and Close
that's
Encounters.
right. Yeah.
Imagine that, only meatloaf.
Is this like a man eat? What's that show TV?
Man versus Food.
Man
Yes,
versus
thank
food.
you.
Oh,
I used to
Adam,
watch
what's
that.
his name? Most local joints in Maine would have kicked his butt. Just large portions, delicious large portions. Whoopie pies the size of your head, pancakes come on, like a wheel. Anyways, but you said meatloaf. I'll never forget Meatloaf Mountain, which was the original song for Neil Young before he changed it over.
Oh yeah.
Oh, to live on Meatloaf Mountain, where the gravy and never mind.
I heard
the sprinkles go.
they're building a new Meatloaf Mountain in Japan Disneyland. Actually.
I heard it. Yes, very big. Meatloaf's big in Japan.
Is this because he was just so close to Maine, maybe as a Canadian?
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, he was, but he's a Western Canadian. He's a prairie guy.
Oh,
Prairie
wow.
guy.
Okay.
So that's not going to work.
I didn't realize Meatloaf was from Canada. Is he from Vancouver or something?
Oh,
No.
Meatloaf. Good old Meatloaf. Where was Meat from? Oh, I'm trying to remember. Could have been. He could have been Canadian. There's a lot. So many people are Canadian. You don't realize. A lot of
I know
artists.
they look just like Americans from
They
far
do.
away.
Just like then you meet them.
And then you meet them and they're nice.
Well, that's the old joke. It was, what's the difference between Americans and Canadians? Canadians knows there's a difference.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think we're going to annex Canada now that we have a new president.
We've
I
been
don't
talking about that in Maine for years.
We're not the Gulf of America.
Yeah, the Gulf of America. We're going to annex Canada and then use Canada as a leaping off point to
Greenland.
To Greenland. Yeah.
So
we're gonna invade Greenland.
Yeah. So we're not getting political, but yet there was, with the whole big snow that hit here in Florida and all the
Yeah.
winter alerts that happened just recently.
Yeah, we were almost part of the snow cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Snow cone of uncertainty. That's
I'm like,
right.
What's
By the way, that's a vendor at the fair this year.
The snow cone of uncertainty. You
It's
never-
blue.
Just
Guess
'cause
what it is?
Yeah. So Harry Potter flavors.
But it was like, what state do you have where kids are going to miss school from both a snow day and a hurricane day? You think about
right.
that, right?
That's
know,
right.
And
Yeah.
by the way, it's way easier to miss school for a snow day in Florida because they don't know
You-
what's going on.
Oh, it's just kind of crazy. But yeah, so I guess the National Weather Service advisory talked about and made a reference to the low that's in the Gulf of. It actually said America.
They did.
They actually did change it in the bulletin. Yeah, the
Wow.
weather service bulletin.
That's powerful.
I mean,
I'm gonna
that's
do
big.
it.
And it's already done.
It's already done.
It's already yeah.
By the way, Tracy just informed me that according to what site was that? Was that Google? According to some site, that Meatloaf was actually born in Dallas, Texas.
That makes sense too. I could see that.
that's
Well,
close.
Texas is a province of Canada, right?
Yeah, that's close.
Beef. That's a meat place.
It's a meat place.
Meat
It's a
place.
meat place.
That's a place of good meat sweat.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what. Never mind.
That's the name
Never
of Devin's band, Meat
I
Sweats.
was gonna say
If that
when
isn't a
I'm
band,
talking up a girl, like, hey, you want to go back to the meat place?
Gotta go back to the meat.
Yeah, we got to go to the
You
meat
ready
place.
for the meat place?
I'll show you my meatloaf mountain.
Well, it's like that restaurant called Meeting Street, and they spell it with an A.
Yes.
I'm like, what are
Or the meat market.
Or meat
What are
market.
they
Palm
talking
Beach, yeah.
about, dear? Oh, I never go there during the day. Don't
That's
worry
right.
about it.
Yes. So,
Only on Thursdays.
so Micah,
Only on Thursdays.
so obviously you've talked a lot about you've been in music around music your whole life. Obviously, you said your father's was
and I'm still not very good. How is that possible? It's all that time.
bass players. Yeah, get away with it.
Yeah.
So
Fake it to make it.
So
hears it
how did is that your only instrument or how did you land? on that?
It's funny. I played trumpet as a kid because my dad was a horn player, so we had a lot of horns around. So you're gonna pick up a horn, which was fun. But I just my dad literally, and I'll shout out to my dad. He's Steve Robbins up in Maine right now. He was like a child prodigy. I mean, he was literally like ridiculous from the age of 4. Just he was that kid on TV and doing all the thing. He was like little Stevie of New England. And so he could just do anything with it. And I could play, but I was like, I just couldn't get into it. And bass, like most bass players, it's like I had a buddy, I got to high freshman. He was a really great songwriter, Adam White, still playing, a wonderful songwriter player. He's up in Boston now. And it was just cool. I was like, man, let's do something. Well, obviously you all are playing guitars, so let me grab a bass. And I always sort of gravitated. So as a kid, like my Beatle was Paul. I had all the Motown records because my dad was huge into Motown and a lot of the vocal bands who like the Association, all that. So you had all those great Capitol records with Carol Kay playing bass, and of course James Jamerson playing all the bass on those Motown. So I just felt it, and then getting into as you start hitting the Holy Trinity, it's like, okay, I'm not getting into Led Zeppelin, I'm getting all that stuff, and these bass lines, it always just came at me. So I kind of gravitated towards it. Everybody wants to be a guitar player, because you want to be cool and all that stuff. But then, I just jumped on bass and just fell for it. So I have guitars around. I could pick my way around. My only musical regret, and I'm working on my kids on this, is that I wish I'd grown up playing piano. I think a lot of musicians, because just piano grounds everything. And and I don't know. Every time I have a band, as soon as we can find a good keyboard player, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you can't afford to do it, but you have to be it as a fun project. But to have like a full cranking keyboard player, a couple horns, that kind of thing, it just especially doing like a rhythm and blues act or a blues act. It just,
Some horns blasting away in the background.
and blues, and again, blues is kind of sort of being anchoring a lot of it too. Growing up listening to a lot of that, and then seeing a lot of good bands. I mean, I've seen Buddy Guy, I've seen B.B. King a bunch of times. I've seen some of these great blues acts, and there's just something about it that puts you in the palm of your hand, and you're in the palm of their hand, and you just go for that journey. It's just special music. So
Very cool.
I'm thinking Blues Festival right at the fairgrounds.
Oh,
I'm in.
I forget this Treasure Coast Blues Association.
Treasure Coast
We need
Blues Society.
Treasure Coast Blues Society. We need
Yeah.
Treasure Coast Blues Festival.
We sure do.
So how does that? So there's another blues thing also in Vero, right?
Well, I was taking a breath to find out the best way to
Sorry.
say that. We're in negotiations now with a undisclosed venue in Indian River County. And we've set a date. It's April 6th, I believe.
Cool.
It is the Treasure Coast Blues Society's Blues Fest.
Very good.
I think four or five bands lined up. Everything's set. The only thing that's not set for sure is the venue.
Well, I may have one if you need one.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because we're currently in negotiations with, like I said, an unnamed spot in Vero.
That's awesome.
But it doesn't have to be Vero.
Yeah, the heart of Martin County. Heart of the blues
That's
right
right.
there. People didn't know that. That's the actual name of Martin County. Martin County, home of the blues.
Yeah.
Didn't know that?
Yeah.
Long
that's-
blues,
this
long
is
blues history.
The crossroads that Robert Johnson went to was actually
Yeah, it was actually
Dixie
the
Highway and
No,
Salerno Road.
It was at the circle.
It was Selfish Circle.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
He
Confusion
crossed
corner.
a lot of road. Confusion corner.
Confusion
He's like-
Corner, yeah.
It's like, what should I do? I'm all confused.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm at this.
Confusion Corner sounds like it could be an album name, a blues album.
It probably is.
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
I think it was a Bella Fleck album at some point. Yeah,
Yeah, it would make sense. Yeah.
So what was
Yeah.
give me a little. I mean, you're a drummer and you've been playing guitar for a long time. What was like kind of your influence in those kind of things?
Well, what I started out playing as a result of the fact that my friends and I had a Kiss tribute band.
That's awesome.
Except we didn't actually play. We cut out. We traced real guitars on plywood and cut them out, and we played plywood guitars to the record.
That was my neighbors. They had it in the garage. They were all. I mean, I look, as a little kid, I was in the Kiss Army. Kiss dolls, Kiss everything.
Absolutely.
Loved Kiss.
I was a Kiss fan.
Kiss Alive.
The first time I ever made money as a musician was before I ever learned how to play guitar. We put on a Halloween concert as Kiss.
Wait. Are you trying to
Sold
say
tickets.
that you were Millie Kiss?
Yeah, he lip synced.
No, we weren't mini Kiss.
No,
we were
Millie
full-size.
or Vanilla Kiss.
Yes.
Do you know how many
We were
lip
Mill
sync
Kiss Vanilla.
air Kiss bands there are? I mean, it's crazy. I have a whole. They were a headliner for a festival I had once, and they were a tribute air band, a Kiss,
No
but
way.
they just did it so well that, and they were all firefighters. So it was all first responders. So it was a big
wow. So they
charity
played
thing and
Firehouse,
all that
of
stuff
course.
and all that stuff. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And but I mean, these guys got into it, and it looked great. And you have a good sound system.
And if the pyro goes wrong, they can put it
Yeah,
out.
They can
get
put
the
it out.
First responders are already on top
True
of it.
story. Irony is that I had them all cranked up, did a whole sound, and they hit just like a true Kiss show. Hit the first thing and hit the lights and the sound. It all blew. It blew the circuit.
Oh, perfect.
I'm like, it's just like a Kiss show, and it was pretty funny. But they're like, smoking, we can take care of it. But
So if you were a big Kiss fan, then we had a previous guest here just not that long ago, Patrick Johansson. Oh,
He's the biggest Kiss fan I've ever met.
I'm a fan, but there's fans.
Yeah, he's a huge
Yeah.
fan. So it was the Kiss that got me started, and then I learned how to play guitar for real, and I had lucky enough to have a lot of great teachers.
That's half the battle.
And one of my teachers turned me on to like what we called at the time the British blues guitar invasion, which was Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, anybody who played with John Mayall, Jimmy Page.
Yep.
And so I'm really excited because like I've taken that style, taken what they turned me on to the American style of blues, and now this coming year I'm getting to go to the UK and bring to them what I've done with that style of blues and perform out in the UK.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
So
of fun.
it's like the home and away and away and a home again.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we're playing blues. We're like ping pong across the pond.
Well, what was it? Because back in the day, all our blues musicians were elder statesmen, literally in the '60s by that point. So when like Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, and those guys would go over, and Keith Richards and the gang would all go and just be blown away, and they're like, "Wow, we got an audience. We haven't had one in 20 years."
Well, those guys revitalized the blues.
That's right.
in the '60s.
That's right.
And then Stevie Ray Vaughan did
Yeah.
it again in the '80s.
Yeah.
Like in 1980, if you were a founding father of blues guitarist, you couldn't get a gig to save your life.
No.
Stevie Ray Vaughan came out, and then they put him right back on the map.
Get everybody on the map. That right there is the only. If you look at concert regrets, right? Like, I should have been at that show. He used to play in Maine regularly on tour, and he'd always play. It was called the Pit in the University of Maine, just the big gym there. Not a great room, but a great room if he's in it. And was going to go. This is 90, 1990, of course. Well, that's the whole butt of the story. So we had a massive snowstorm, and my parents were like, it's pretty dicey out. And usually in Maine, you're like, well, it's like, no, this was bad. And the show was still going on, and I'm like, you know what? He's going to be back. I'll catch him next year. Was it Alpine Valley?
Yeah, was that his
summer.
actual last show?
It wasn't his last show, but that was
Close.
that was like February, and then it was June or whatever when he had that helicopter crash. I was like,
Yeah.
So that was the one I was like, oh. But
I did see him
loss.
on the tour with Eric Clapton.
Wow.
Which was great.
So going back, I was oh my gosh, just jumped out of my head.
I have seen Eric Clapton live. I've forgotten that I had seen him live.
So you've seen Clapton Beck. You've told a story about Beck seeing Beck.
So
right?
I saw Beck live. Yeah, I saw Clapton and Beck both in the same room in the Miami Heat Stadium.
Oh, nice. I saw Jeff Beck. I never saw Eric Clapton. Obviously, didn't see Stevie Ray, and missed all the various. I've seen Robert Plant a bunch, but I've never seen Jimmy Page. And I was a huge. So that when you talk about like Kiss and all that stuff, like Led Zeppelin was like that was my boom. That's when like rock and
Yeah.
roll got into my brain, and there was I think like 6 months in my junior year, I thought I was Jimmy Page, even though I was a bass player. I mean, I had the long hair and the crazy clothes and all that stuff, and just that's all I listened to and all I could think about, and and then listening to all the other blues and finding old Robert Johnson recordings and stuff like that, just because I was a dork and had to do anything that was in him or the gods.
Yeah. Well, I'd never really delved deep into Jimmy Page. Actually, I liked his acoustic stuff more than his electric stuff. Because I got into Southern rock, being a Florida boy.
That's right.
I discovered Southern rock, and I didn't finish my research through. I got through Beck and Clapton and then Beck, and I didn't go all the way through Jimmy Page because Gary Rossington showed up and
That was it.
diverted me from all that.
It's funny with Gary Robertson and Skinner and all that, but they were a piano band, man. I mean, they were great guitarists, but Billy Powell was like. That was magic.
He was a big part of their sound.
He was magic. The dude was like concert level, classical. Just and you go back and listen to like Tuesday's Gone, and people are like, "This is such a great song." I'm like, yeah, those guitar solos are amazing. Just wait till the piano solo kicks in. You're like, this just people forget how good. And like everybody's like, "Blaze them." It's like, no, they were unbelievable.
And they're coming soon, right?
Playing in Okeechobee.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
Is this
Leonard
it?
Skinner just playing
Is
in
this,
Okeechobee.
this is it though. This is like the Red, White, and Dun tour
That's
or
what
something.
that was 3 years ago. I don't know. Now
Okay.
it's like we're all dead. We're already dead tour.
Yeah. Well, Billy, who's left?
Nobody.
Johnny?
Johnny and is Ricky Medlock performing with them? He was not an original member, but he was one of their first drummers.
Right. But put it this way, the tribute band is going to sound.
No, they've had a bunch of great guys with them
Yeah.
for a long time, and it's going to be I'm sure mostly them. But
It'll be a good show.
So I messaged, our good friend and former guest, Brian, from Bubble Ups. I said,
Oh, yeah.
I said, where's they playing at? In Okeechobee, and I can't remember now where. I said, is the after party at your house? He goes, yeah, maybe. So can we get?
He lives a little bit out of the way from Okeechobee.
I said, can we maybe, maybe we can get them on the show, right? You want to get Leonard Skinner on the show? They're Florida.
We could do a remote.
They're a Florida
for that.
band.
They're a Florida band, right? They're
Could
original
do-
music.
Go do a remote for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever
Yeah.
happened to the gym teacher, Leonard Skinner? Whatever happened to that guy?
He passed away.
Sure, he passed away.
I believe he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen interviews with him,
The real deal. Yeah.
Mr. Skinner.
Mr. Skinner.
So, Micah, so we've got a segment here called Tales from the Road.
Tales from the Road.
Yeah. So, do you got any good stories about gigging, touring, or whatever that's like, wow?
Sure. Let's see here. Go back in the old memory banks. Fun shows. Well, you know what's funny with the Greco band? Like I'll keep it. It's for the kids here. We'll behave. But
So I don't have to check the box.
No, check the box
Oh,
here.
it's too late. Don't do that because then they'll look at our other stuff. They'll be traumatized.
But it's a couple funny ones. Our first actual gig is that band. We have some videos online, and people are like, "Oh, it's great! You set up for that video shoot. That's a nice little promo video." So yeah, the reason why I shot the promo video, there was nobody there. Not a single person. Not anybody's even cousin, mom.
Wow.
Nothing. Nobody. It was in Delray, and we were playing at Boss Taco. We had a buddy that had a taco shack, and it was the old pinball museum that was there before they had the big new one. And it had this cool courtyard. And I was like, yeah, man, come out and play. We'll set it all up. We set it out. It was like 7,000 degrees out. Got up, started playing. It's like, all right, call it live rehearsal.
That can happen. I've been there.
But our buddy that did all the filming, hey, let's just shoot some footage, and that was fun. So we did some live stuff. But trying to think, like, I got. Do you guys ever play frat parties? Ever play any frat parties?
I've not.
So the 5 holes, because we're at a university town, and played a lot of gigs. We had buddies that owned bars. We'd play those bars and play frat house parties, and you'd get some interesting stuff as things went on through the night. Like, because you'd have a crowd that would come down, and then they'd disappear, go back upstairs, then they'd come back down. New crowd would come down. So this is about 5 hours in, and we'd finally run out of stuff, and eventually get to the end of the road, right? And we're like, I think everybody's in such a state that let's just start over again. And sure enough, kind of the crew came down. We jammed into our first tune. They thought it was a whole new show. They thought it was a different band.
Oh, wow.
I think we changed positions. They're like, yeah, new band. Ah! And so we played another. I think that was like a 7.5 hour. We started at like 6, and the next morning we're like, okay, I think we're done. Fun things like that. I played one night literally till my fingers bled, so I had that moment. We were playing a really good game. So we had to, the cool thing in this band was that our drummer, both his parents are professional musicians, and his dad ran the jazz department at the university. And the Lidrells, really cool fit. He's a drummer, mom keyboard player, and dad was a sax player, and like well known, jazz sax. So we'd be playing along, and they would just show up and then kind of sneak in instruments. And one night, his dad just gets up, starts wailing. We just kept, and we're playing just these blues jams, like just because let's just get going, and just going and going and going. I'm looking down, it's like my hand was shredded. It's like, wow. It's like, cool. I literally still have dried blood on my fender that I'm never going to wipe off.
Yeah, don't ever wipe that off.
That's just so much fun. And that's just, I wish I had my dad has great bands because they were touring and stuff like that, and the Battle of the Band stuff and Life on the Road and every pal into the vans and all that stuff. And frankly, I've always been kind of cushy.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
And not a little bougie, but it's but I've always been the band has always been something I did as I'm doing something else, Right. So, the big long van rides and things like that were never that prevalent. We're just playing a lot of shows and stayed local. So, but all kinds of gigs with funny stories.
Yeah.
No one stole. The good news is no one ever stole anything. That was good.
Oh, wow, that's rare. That's rare. That's pretty rare.
That's
right?
a very rare thing to have nothing I've stolen. Of course, I say that I'm going to walk out of my car and it's going to be empty. But just
don't worry, it might get towed. It might get towed. But at least it won't go far.
Yeah, it won't go far.
Yeah, exactly. We'll know where it is.
It'll still be here.
But that's a funny Canada thing. You go to Montreal, they tow your car because if you keep it out and there's snow, they tow you. And you're like, oh man. Where's the tow yard? That's going to cost me. Where is it? Outside of town? $100. It's like this French toast, giggled in the corner, oh, we showed them. It's it's around the corner with a ticket on it. They tow your car around, you're standing here. There's your car.
Why did they do that?
Just because they had to plow right there, and they're just
Oh, okay.
That's all. It's
that's
you
right.
put all that effort to get a tow truck to move it 80 feet.
Some
Some people like their jobs, man. It's just messing with people.
That's
right.
That's Quebec humor.
So, do you have somebody? We've got somebody you want to recognize, in the music, whether local scene, a shout out or somebody who's kind of helped you out in the area or in general, maybe a music teacher in the past. It's part of our House of Wine, Beer and Spirits MVP of the week.
MVP. I want to throw a shout out to Al Johnson, who'd be a great guest for you sometime too. And just because he's just such a good guy, what he does for the community, and just to kind of for him to kind of say, hey, what was I doing at that time, right? And to say, let's do this, let's play. We're getting great rehearsal in, and to have those people in your life that bring your skills back, that bring your talent back, that bring your passion back for it. Music's never not going to be a passion, but you get into life, and I took a weird journey, and so kids at later point in my life and everything else, and to bring music back into that, and now what that'll mean to my kids and all that. I mean, that's just awesome. So Al's just a great guy. I'm excited for you guys to meet him and play and check out his stuff because he's a great singer-songwriter, and we need more guys like that out there.
Very cool.
And I could shout out a bunch of guys. John Greco got the John Greco band going. Same type of thing, pulling that band together, and you guys know when you put a band together, it's just that sort of it's that give and take. Is it going to mix? Is it going to match? It's going to be all that. And then it hits, and you're like, nice, this is just good. So
everything just feels
good.
Yeah.
You know it. Plus, I've also played in a lot of bands that were pickup bands. You're like, all right, I guess we're going to play Green Grass and High Times for the next hour and a half. Okay, then.
But done properly.
It's
takes
great.
About 90 minutes.
Done improperly.
It's a nightmare.
It's a long time.
That's funny. So
yeah, I played that song and nailed it.
I just kicked the camera. How'd I do?
Earthquake. And
right.
and I played that song where it was just wonderful, and played that song where it was shoot me.
so definitely very cool. So I know we could talk for hours and hours and hours, but Are you available to come back next week?
Yes.
Okay,
I
very
love
cool.
this.
Yeah,
Let's
man,
do it.
We still have
Anytime.
more stuff, or we want to
Yeah.
have you talk about.
I could talk about anything you want to talk about.
Press
You guys
you
are
for
fabulous.
it. So there's been a lot of confusion about when is the fair going to be moving, or is it going to be here? When is it going to be there? So can we talk next week about what's going on with the new fairgrounds?
Well, next week, stay tuned. It's what's happening with the fair.
Oh, I like he's hired for our over voiceovers.
We'll put on radio voice.
There you go.
Yes. Stay tuned for the Ghost in the Machine.
Right on. Yeah, so great. We'll see you next
do it.
week. Come
Yep.
on back, same place, and we'll have a good time.
Yep.
How about you,
Cheers.
Paul?
Yeah.
Yes, cheers. Cheers
Yep,
to that.
Yep, cheers to that. So definitely check out there. Thanks for watching this episode here, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Support our other podcast there. You know, our good friend Brad over the Jams and Cocktails Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Jeez, that's too many words
Yeah,
to say.
not on Thursday, just Wednesday.
Yeah, just on Wednesday. And then Thursday, listen to the audio version on the B3 Podcast Network. So definitely check all our shows out and so forth. So yeah, you got any shows coming up here in the end of the month? Here in January?
Let's see, what is it? It's the end of January.
Yep.
Well, I've got I've got Big Fest at the Martin County Fair.
That's right. All right. So to come on, check out.
down.
Come check out Ken McLoughlin Band and his Blue Ribbon Pig in the judging contest.
That's right. We're gonna have a contest to see who can put the right color lipstick on the pig.
As long as it's greased.
There you go.
So thanks for tuning in. Oh, hold on.
New episodes of Ghost on the Ox coming soon too.
All right, there you go. So
Thank
check
you
out-
guys for
Yes.
the crossover on the holiday episode because it got me a lot of views.
Good. All right. Nice. Very good.
deal.
So that was, it's very cool. So, so supporting all our shows here. Got a lot going on here. And, so let's wrap this up
So
here.
let's wrap this
Yeah.
up. Here's to another episode, one that is free of damage and injury. No personal, no disembodiments or dismemberments or deaths.
We got to have more fun next time.
We have a 100% survival rate on this show, and I'm excited.
No hosts have been harmed in making this episode.
Not even the best restaurants on earth can say that.
Well, at least tonight.
Right. There we go.
Other episodes, maybe.
Unless you go to Red Lobster.
We'll see you next
cheers.
week.
Cheers.